The email arrived with the time and date of my audition for the Listen to Your Mother show. And as I read the email, I thought to myself, what am I going to talk about? And before I could complete that thought, my mother's voice could be heard loud and clear. The voice said, "And for Pete's sake, spruce yourself up." Yeah, I started to roll my eyes, but then I realized that my mother had just written my story for me. I would talk about some of her expressions, like spruce yourself up. That came about one evening when I was about 11 years old. Mom was reading the newspaper, and she said, "Listen to your father's horoscope for tomorrow. It says, for Pete's sake, spruce yourself up." Now, this was amusing for two reasons. One, the wording was very quirky. It was unlike any horoscope in the Buffalo Evening News before or since that time. And secondly, it was for my father. He didn't need to be told to spruce himself up. He always looked pretty good. And so a few minutes later, when Dad walked in the room, Mom said, "For Pete's sake, spruce yourself up." And we all had a good laugh, and a new family expression had been born. Then there was the Christmas card. It was the holiday season, and cards were arriving in the mail, and Mom picked one up, opened the envelope, then she opened the card, and at the top was handwritten, "Dear Jim," my father's name. And at the bottom was signed, "Fondly, Elaine." Mom handed the card to Dad and said, "Who is fondly Elaine?" And Dad looked at the card, and then he explained that Elaine was the new person in the office at the company where he worked. And it was all innocent enough, but now we had a name for the unknown. Mysteries are a lot less scary when you can call them something silly like Fondly Elaine, don't you think? And then there was Garfield, again from the newspapers. You know the comic strip, Garfield the cat? Well, for about the last 30 years of my mom's life, she would put a Garfield watch on her wrist when she went out. She would put on the watch, and then she would go run her errands. And because she was a great comic, she would never bring attention to the watch herself. She waited. She waited, and then it would happen. It could be the checkout lady at the Kroger supermarket. It could be the guy standing behind Mom at the Kroger supermarket. It could be the bank teller, the pharmacist, the doctor. Eventually, someone would ask, "What's that on your watch?" And Mom would say, "That's Garfield." And because her timing was impeccable, she would wait 2 seconds. 2 seconds, and then she would say, "Did you ever notice how cute Garfield is at 6:30? And then Mom would look at the face of the person who had asked about the watch, and she would know if the person had gotten the joke. She would know if the person had not gotten the joke. And she would know if the person had not gotten the joke but was pretending to get the joke. And Mom reveled in all three responses. The last time I heard Mom do her Garfield routine, we were at the doctor's office, making an appointment for Mom's next visit. The scheduling lady said, "What's on your watch?" And as Mom did her Garfield joke, I groaned. The scheduling lady laughed, and then the schedule lady pointed at me and she said, "You be nice to your mother, she's funny." I said, "Yes, oh yes she is." When my mom passed away, I found 3 Garfield watches in her house. I set each one to 6:30. And I took 2 of them and put each in its own shadow box and gave them to my daughters last Christmas. I am hoping that Garfield reminds them of their Grandma Mary. I am hoping that Garfield reminds them that if you are going out, there are 3 things you need to do. If you are going out, first of all, you need to take a ray of sunshine with you to share with others, like a Garfield watch. Secondly, if you are going out, do not be afraid of the unknown. It's only fondly Elaine. And lastly, but most important of all, if you are going out, for Pete's sake, spruce yourself up.